Thank you. And thank you to QED and to Dr. Purser for the opportunity to be here today on a very beautiful Brussels day. It's a privilege to be here among such an esteemed group here on the panel as well as in the audience. My name, as Dr. Purser mentioned, is Edwin Aoki. I'm PayPal's Chief Architect and Technology Fellow. And I've spent over 2 decades leading architecture initiatives inclusive of mobile and security for leading technology companies like PayPal, Apple, AOL, Netscape, and Intuit. But in that time, I'd be hard-pressed to find an area of activity and interest as dynamic as we're seeing in the confluence between security and financial services as we're seeing today. The world of digital payments and digital commerce, if I can get the slides to work here, is clearly going through a period of unprecedented change. Already there are more smartphones in use in the world than there are cars on the road, and more mobile devices in use than there are toothbrushes in use among the world's population. New players, new technologies, and rapidly changing customer expectations are changing the cycle of innovation in the technology field and in digital commerce that makes it more convenient, more accessible, and more democratized for all. But while technology has leveled the playing field for both merchants and consumers, we're also seeing that that same technology has enabled cyber criminals and created new vectors for attack in this cybercrime area. Fortunately, technology can also play an important role in addressing these new threats, and it won't be the first time that the financial services industry has faced these kinds of challenges. As early as the 13th century, when time and distance made it impossible for people to transact with a simple handshake and a smile, we created new ways to establish trust and allow for the flow of digital economies, conventional economies, to flourish. When we wanted to expand short-term credit beyond the local store or local restaurant, we created credit and charge cards that could be universally accepted and globally available. These innovations have not only addressed real issues in securing financial transactions, but they've also created a world where consumers have newfound flexibility and new opportunities to create a trillion-dollar industry. In the digital sphere, we've seen similar innovations. PayPal began almost 15 years ago with the premise that consumers should be able to safely transact online without revealing their financial details to the merchants that they do business with. That premise has allowed PayPal to expand to over 200 countries, over 162 million accounts, and processing $228 billion in total transaction volume in 2014. And we've created tremendous opportunities, especially for small and medium enterprises, to reach new customers and new markets without having to worry about things like PCI compliance, payment security, and the like. That same concept of tokenization has now more recently been adopted by EMVCo and the card associations to secure the transmission, capture, and exposure of financial details both online and in the retail sphere that underlies both the Google Wallet and Apple Pay implementations that are so popular today. But trust and security is not just part of our brand promise. They're vital to our survival as a business. Unlike most traditional banks, PayPal's users experience and enjoy our services generally without cost. And users who lose confidence in our ability to trust and secure their financial details can close their account and choose other alternatives, again, at little to no cost. This is one reason why we've continued to invest millions of dollars in protecting user security while also trying to keep a balance with the convenience and frictionless payment ecosystem that consumers are increasingly demanding and expecting of us. When spam and phishing attacks started to erode trust and expose users' login credentials, we joined together with other leading mail receivers and senders to create the domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance standard, or DMARC, that allowed senders and receivers to positively verify and authenticate email messages. Today, DMARC protects billions of email boxes and is used and recommended by the German Office for Information Security, BSI, HM Revenue and Customs in the UK, and the Financial Services Roundtable as a way to protect users from phishing attacks. We were also a founding member of FIDO, the Fast Identity Online Initiative, which proposes a standardized framework for strong authentication mechanisms like fingerprints and facial recognitions so that we can move beyond insecure passwords that are cumbersome to enter, often forgotten, or easily compromised. Newer methods, including passive authentication, predictive analysis, and risk-based scoring, hold the potential to improve security even further while driving down friction at the point of commerce. Of course, cybersecurity cannot be solved purely through technical means alone, and consumers and institutions should demand and expect pragmatic and appropriate regulation to help increase confidence and improve trust in the digital realm. PayPal supports the current EU efforts to establish a high level of network and information security across the EU, like the NIS directive. But with the pace of innovation continuing to increase, regulation must take an inclusive, technology-neutral, and global approach that protects consumers while avoiding a patchwork of independent national standards and requirements. As a licensed bank in Luxembourg and a global financial services company, PayPal already complies with EU banking laws and compliance regulations in the over 200 countries, encompassing auditing, compliance, and reporting requirements. In part for this reason, we would recommend strongly against overlapping reporting regulations. For regulated entities such as PayPal, notification obligations must adequately take into account existing reporting duties towards our supervisory authorities, and avoiding multiple notification is going to be key to ensure that obligated entities can invest our resources where they're most needed towards ascertaining the origin, impact, and scope of cyber attacks rather than dealing with a plethora of bureaucratic and duplicative reporting obligations. We welcome opportunities like this one to have a dialogue and to work with you and our other colleagues in the financial services, technology, and regulatory arenas to craft policy that strikes the right balance between security and innovation and can continue to create new opportunities for all in this emerging digital economy. I'm very much looking forward to the discussion and thank the chair and the organizers for the opportunity.